Hello and welcome into another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hicks, and I'm your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI and your host of this daily Sun Devils Insider Podcast. And I'm so grateful to be joining you on this beautiful Sunday morning. Um, and we are about a day removed from Arizona State officially wrapping up their first weekend or first official week of spring practices in the fourth session of the Kenny Dillingham era, for the fourth time, should I say. And it was an eventful practice. We kind of talked about it a little bit on yesterday's episode. There were several alumni of the program that were at practice. Omarion Miller was making one-handed catches off of absolute rocket punts that transfer punter Nick McClarty was unleashing. And it was a fun day to be out there. We got to talk to Coach Dillingham, Coach Arroyo, and Coach Ward. It was fun and looking forward to the next week of practices on should be on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. That will be an event. Um, and Arizona State baseball, absolutely worth talking about before their game in about an hour against Kansas State. They're looking for a sweep and to move to 18-5 on the season. This is looking like Willie Bloomquist's most talented team from top to bottom. This looks like maybe the best team in the Big 12 and a team that has a real chance to make it to Omaha for the first time since 2010. So I will continue to keep you posted on that team as well. The softball team looks great. Uh, Still great time to be a Sun Devil fan. Uh, before we talk about the main area of today's episode, I mean, about to start renovating Desert Financial Arena and about to break ground on the indoor practice facility for the football program. It's just great all around. And that leads me into talking about the bulk of today's episode, which is talking more or less about the major pros and cons once again of a Randy Bennett hire that is looking more and more likely to materialize by the day. If you've been watching the show, you know that I've been floating his name around for the last month or so. It just makes a lot of sense, even going beyond what you hear behind the scenes. Uh, this is the first time in Bennett's career that he has a genuine incentive to leave St. Mary's for both professional and personal reasons. I mean, the professional side, Gonzaga is leaving the West Coast Conference, so it's probably going to be St. Mary's and Santa Clara duking it out for one bid every single season. And that might not be too attractive for him. He might see the writings on the wall for the West Coast Conference and it might be hard to gain footing somewhere else or in that league. Uh, that's very strong possibility. Now, personally, a lot of his family still lives out here, from my understanding. He wants to be closer to his parents who are aging, and um, that's 100% understandable. And I think that I've been one of the biggest proponents, I'd say, of a Randy Bennett pairing in Tempe. The pros are just jump off the page. Um, the first pro is that he's one of the, I mean, one of the best coaches of this generation of the last 25, 26 years. Uh, he took a program that was nothing in St. Mary's and turned them into a yearly discussion point. They haven't had the best success in the tournament as of late, but that's where resource constraints come into play. That's where not being able to keep a player like Joshua Jefferson comes into play. At Arizona State, he's probably going to have better financial backing, especially with Graham Rossini as athletic director. Uh, I think even in the Big 12, you saw Johnny Dawkins take a UCF program that has been kind of stagnant for the last decade or so. He's done a good job overall, but that's a program that doesn't have that many resources around them, and he's taken them to a top 8, 9, 10 finish in the Big 12. Uh, Arizona State has the ability to be a top 7 or 8 team in the Big 12 on a yearly basis under Randy Bennett. He's just that kind of floor raiser. So instantly makes them more relevant on the court, makes them more relevant off the court. Now, for all the moments that Bobby Hurley had, moments of brilliance, on a year-to-year basis, you could argue that there wasn't a consistent direction that he had the team in. Randy Bennett's uh, mindset and culture are very regimented and set in stone. You're going to get the line packing defense. You're going to get uh, an offense that might not be very exhilarating to watch, but they are efficient. Don't turn the ball over, shoot the three ball well, uh, maximize possessions, uh, really quality over quantity, that mindset. Um, you're going to get a brand of ball that you probably will be able to compete against the likes of a Tommy Lloyd Arizona team or a Kelvin Sampson Houston team for that matter. That's just my thoughts. And lastly, we saw Bobby Hurley try the international route in his last season. It worked out pretty well. Now if you go to Randy Bennett, you go to a guy that has success with the international route, and he has international players already on the roster that may or may not stay, but knowing that they have a coach that has as good of a track record as anyone else outside of Tommy Lloyd in that department, that might make them more comfortable at staying, such as Noah Mayus and Masama Diop. And I think Masama Diop would be a perfect uh, building block for a Randy Bennett offense in year one. So there are a lot of positives. I think he would be a great voice for the program while they're in the transition period of renovating DFA, trying to get their footing in the NIL and modern era, and in trying to advance some of the ideas that Bobby Hurley injected into the programs from the life. I think that it's very strong. On the flip side, there are some concerns. Uh, Mostly about his previous reluctance to enter the NIL sphere at St. Mary's. Uh, my opinion on that is that if he's going to make that jump to Power Five, he's going to definitely relent to some of those previous reservations. I mean, I think every coach at the Power Five level recognizes that they have to embrace NIL to have a chance to win, no matter how great of a coach they are. And I think that he will probably adapt quite seamlessly. At least that's the hope. And then the other major concern that I've seen, I mean, some people will talk about his offense not having a high ceiling. I could definitely see him becoming more open to finding at least a Mo Odom type of creator on the perimeter, even if his offense still is methodical and built around pick and rolls and efficient three-pointers, your time on the taking time on the shot clock to get a better shot than just getting possession after possession after possession churned out. Um, his age is a concern to some as well, but ultimately, I don't think that's too big of a red flag. I think that if he takes the ASU job, I'd say that he at least would commit to a 5 year window, if not even longer, if not a 10-year window to coach the program and set it up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Derek Glasser still come on as an assistant and be the head coach in waiting. By the time Bennett's tenure is over, that Derek Glasser becomes a head coach with backing from James Harden. And just like Bobby Hurley left the program better than he found it, I think that Randy Bennett has a very high chance to leave the program better than where he found it from Bobby Hurley. So I think the continued progression of the program is, I think there's a clear vision of what will transpire over the next few years. And I think that if that potential arrangement happens, that Arizona State basketball will be competing in the Big 12 long term. I really, really do. Um, so we'll see what happens in the next day or two. I expect a hire to happen on Monday or Tuesday. Uh, until then, stay tuned for all of the updates on Arizona State on SI and stay tuned to your Sun Devils Insider podcast uh, for updates. Thank you so much for tuning in once again to another edition of the Sun Devils Insider podcast. Your support means the world to me. Until then, uh, I'll catch you on another episode tomorrow. Thank you so much.